Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Afternoon Market Action. My name is Glenn.
My name is Ryan.
And we will be your host for the next 45 minutes to an hour's worth of time today. It is also Western Wednesday. If you can hear us, by all means, please respond in the affirmative, preferably with VV Nation, to let us know that we are coming across loud and clear. All right.
Or we can do something different this week. Respond with a yeehaw in the comment section.
I like that better. I've never seen Brokeback Mountain, and I don't want to. Wow! See, we were just talking about that. Somebody just posted that. Somebody just posted that. Wow, Joey. All right, Joey was talking about that earlier today. Not me, because that's not my thing.
Y'all gonna make me change my background real quick.
That does look kind of Brokeback Mountain-ish. It really does. You know. All right. So loud and clear. Ryan has an echo. He shouldn't anymore. He shouldn't anymore. Is the VVC going sideways? We're going to take a look at that today, Marcus, in regards to what's going on with the market when that time comes. Only Bobby was the person that put in hee-haw. That was the only one. Man, it is Western Wednesday. I don't have on my boots today, though. But I got my cowboy hat on. Ryan's got his cowboy hat on. The alert just hit, looks like. Sounded like the alert just hit. How many people are here? 48. VV sideways, Osities market. We're going to take a look. Did you intentionally segregate the hats? Wow. The answer to that is no. Oh, wow. No. Actually, it looks like we did, but we really didn't. We really
Glenn,
didn't.
should we switch it up and switch hats next week?
And we could do that. Your head is bigger than mine, so I couldn't fit your hat. I couldn't fit your hat. Your head is...
Well, you got a big head?
I got a small head. I got a small head. All right, how many people are here? 151. There we go. All right, so the alert hit. Sounds like you guys can hear us. It is Western Wednesday, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Inflation, core inflation, what the Fed is looking at, came in a little bit hot. Can we talk about politics instead of Brokeback Mountain? Nope, we ain't doing politics. That just ain't happening. You know me, I don't do politics. Janice, are you here? I got your email if you did, and I'll take care of that tomorrow. Bro said inflation is hot. Inflation is hot. It's hotter than anticipated.
Expected.
Did Ryan get his buckle? Oh, I don't know. Did you get your buckle yet?
So yeah, it's supposed to be in the mail. Well, it's in the mail. I should be getting it hopefully by Friday.
All right.
So I'll wear it next week.
Is Ryan wearing it?
Yes, I'm wearing a pinkish red shirt.
You know, it's pink. Just get it right.
It's pink.
Glenn, with the inflation data, we can't not talk politics. Yes, we can. Watch me. All right. We don't have to talk politics. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, let me close out of this graph. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the VectorVest composite. Let's go take a look at what's going on in the market.
Yeah, I find it interesting that the VVC is down slightly, but all the major indices are up right now.
I'm going to take a look. Let's go see. Put this on a 3-month graph. Here we go. Look at that. Still going down. We're at a, looks like a little level of support, little swing low right here. We're breaking down below it or right at it at a level of about 58.06. Market still got some down. You know, I'm going to say it. All right. I'm just going to say it. Oil numbers came out. And I think that there's some manipulation. That's all I got to say about that. I think if you, I'm not trying to get political, but if you agree with the oil number being manipulated, type a 1 in the chat. All right. If you agree with me and if you don't agree with me, type a 2. If you don't agree with me, type a 2. I am wondering where we found the freaking oil that we found. Daniel says no. All right. I want to see as many people as we can see in here. I don't know where all this extra oil came in. I don't know where we found it. All right. Unless you're saying that the demand is not that high. Unless you're trying to say that the demand is not that high. Michael says no as well. All right. Again, that's my insight. Ryan, what do you agree with? Do you agree or disagree with that?
You know, Glenn, I don't have the data to really agree or disagree.
That's a political answer.
When I don't have the data in front of me.
Have a backbone. That's a political answer. Have a freaking backbone. Yes or no? No.
You talk politics without
I'm
talking
putting you
politics.
on the spot, bro. Have a backbone. Do you agree with that? Yes or no?
I've been doing oil videos, recently, and one thing I did find interesting, that even though OPEC cut production, their numbers actually went up, and it was mostly because of Nigeria and Iran. It looks like the U.S. is going a little easier on their sanctions with Iranian oil, and that might be easing the markets.
So is that where we found all this extra oil? I'm just saying. Talking Head said we're hitting $100 soon. I agree with that. I still think that the supply is not the right number. Now, Ryan brings to the table that we could be picking up extra oil from Iran. I think it's manipulated. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say it. 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 Why are indexes up and the VVC is down? And that question gets asked a lot. Understand that the indexes track 30, the Dow, 500, the S&P, excuse me, and about 4,300 from the NASDAQ. Do keep in mind that in the United States, we track over 9,000 stocks in the market. So the indices can go in one direction and the composite can go in a different direction because we feel that the VectorVest composite tracks the broad market. Right? Akshaya says it will be down big next week in regards to, in regards to oil. I and Ryan alike both think that oil and part of the inflation number going up is due to oil prices rising. It is an inflationary indicator. When oil goes up, everything associated with oil goes up. All right, so I don't think the number is right. I think the number is being manipulated. And again, I'm not getting political. I'm just bringing some realism to it. Akshaya says oil is going to be down next week. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll see. Saw the video from Dr. DeLito that you used to track 13,000 stocks in 2007. Why more stocks back then? No, we track over 15. I thought we was over 15,000 stocks globally. Ryan, do me a favor. No, that would mean you have to open up all of the sevens to get. I think we're at.
Yeah, when Dr. D said 13,000 stocks, he was talking about the other markets too. We got Canada,
right,
EU, UK. And back then, we used to actually track a couple more. We had South Africa
and India. We had South Africa
Singapore.
and India. Really? Did you just call me a black Republican? Did you really just do that? Sigh.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I mean, let alone from oil, core CPI still rose.
And that's what the Fed's looking at when he's making his decision.
And core is what? Subtract energy,
food and fuel.
Food.
It takes away food and fuel.
Okay.
All right. So I look at it as if that is a key indicator he's looking for, I still think that he raises on the next decision.
Well, Glenn, if you think the oil numbers are
manipulated,
not accurate.
No. I said I used the exact word, manipulated. Okay.
What do you think about the CPI numbers?
I think.
Do you think they're accurate?
I don't know. I think that.
So that was the answer I gave on
which one?
The oil. I don't know, so I can't speak on it.
Put user in. No. All right. The CPI number, I think, does reflect that there is an increase in inflation. I think the oil number is wrong, and I think that the rising oil does reflect in the CPI number. I just think that the number is being, manipulated. So that's what I got to say about that. I think that, and I kept saying that even with both of us being bullish on oil, it is an inflationary indicator. It is an inflationary indicator.
Michael brought up a good point in the comment section that the CPI basket changes over time, which I've heard that. And do you think maybe the basket of oil indicators that they're looking at has also changed, which could have, changed how we look at those numbers?
I don't know. That I don't know.
the numbers are important, but how, we get to those numbers and those formulas, in my opinion, is even more important. What variables are being considered.
And when you look at the whole oil number, as a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's get to the stories.
And Marcus Hunt, you might be onto something. Me and Glenn, we've talked about another quarter point. You're saying in the comment that it isn't enough. You think there will be 2 times more. One uptick, definitely justifies the extra quarter point that me and Glenn are expecting. But
I've been wanting
Fed says,
a full basis
we're data
point.
dependent, right?
I wanted a full basis point a long time ago. Joseph says, who manipulates? The government. The government. And
Glenn, you think the government manipulates?
Yeah. Anyway, I think that the screwy thing is that we took all of that oil out of the reserve, and we never really put it back. And I don't know, the oil fell and fell and fell and fell, and we never really put it back. All oil stocks are down today. Is it overbought? No. I think that when you look at this number right here, crude inventories right here, we were looking to be negative, but even though it's in the red, that's a positive number. It's not negative. It's a positive number, and that's where I'm like, where did we find this 3.954 million barrels of oil? And I know it's in the red, but it doesn't have the negative in front of it. So are we China?
How many barrels of oil?
We ain't China. And then the CPI number coming in hotter than expected, right? Month over month, year over year. And if the Fed is looking at those numbers, then I think that still brings him to the point where he's got to raise. But if you listen to the outlets, if you listen to what everybody else is telling you, it's ready for him to pause. We'll see. Glenn, change the topic as you are sounding wonky tonky. Is that Southern? Is that wonky tonky? Thank you, ma'am. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, Glenn, I mean, oil's still going up. I put the video out earlier this week. It hit a 9-month high, breaking that $90 a barrel level. And of course, we're looking at Brent for this. And right now I see it, oilprice.com's got it at 91.85.
Which means it's still rising. Which means inflation is still rearing its ugly head. All right. So I wanted to show the stories about how the reports came out this morning, and go from there. Main story: inflation accelerated in August as what? Oil prices surged. So, Akshaya, I like a lot of the things that you say. I just don't see oil. Now, if it pulls back, does it pull back because people are taking profits on oil? I still, I am still holding WTI. It took a hit today, but I'm still up in it. Fed will raise if economic engine also running hot. People are still spending money. Wages are still going up. That's relative, all right?
The wages part?
Huh?
You're talking about the wages
part?
Yeah,
it is going up, but in the big picture, it's not. But short-term wages are higher than they have been in a long time. All right, so I'm with you. I'm looking at energy. We're going to keep our eyes on oil. I still think that oil is still a good play. All right, so that was the inflation number backing that up. Here's my first story, Palantir. Everybody knows that it's a speculative play, but Palantir, I still trying to bring Palantir to the light because of what the company does. The company is all about machine learning. The company has gotten contract after contract after contract over the last couple of years. Another contract signs a partnership with Titan Defense firm. And a lot of the companies that they're getting the contracts with are usually medical, defense, police, intelligence agencies. Palantir takes data for any industry and through their foundry process makes it usable information, no matter what industry you're in. So it saves people a lot of time and a lot of effort and gives you real time information to help you to be a lot more sufficient in what you do. So I love Palantir. I've loved Palantir for the longest time. I've tried to bring it to the forefront, but I keep telling people that it is more of a speculative play. As I get back into the software, let's go to the viewers tab today.
I mean, it's definitely overvalued, at least compared to our metrics.
Yeah, and the stock is way overvalued. The stock is.
But one thing I like about Palantir, even if you're pessimistic on the economy itself, Palantir is a tech company that doesn't really rely on consumer demand. I mean, most of their contracts are government.
Absolutely.
So they're going to get their money either way, and that's one thing I like about Palantir.
But the problem is, even though they have all of these contracts, it's got to equate out to money. I do like that they are, overvalued, fundamentally not sound, because relative value, relative safety is below 1. Relative timing right now is below 1. But they've got, growing their earnings at a clip of 22% with an earnings per share of 21 cents. It is a speculative.
So did their EPS
play.
finally just go positive? Huh? Did their EPS finally go positive?
Yeah, it went positive a couple of quarters ago. They beat earnings for the first time and for a couple of months straight, for a couple of quarters straight. So it's coming into its own. But Palantir, every time I talk about Palantir, it's all about that they got another contract. And they just keep getting contract after contract. So, Glenn, is Palantir also manipulating numbers? Not that I think of. I look at the company as a whole. I've done my homework on the company and what they do and what they offer and why people are migrating to them. Another company in the space is Snowflake. A lot more expensive. But, if I add Snowflake to the list, one, I'm going to see that Snowflake is a lot more expensive, but, fundamentally not sound as well. Still way overvalued. The upside to that is that they do grow their earnings at 45% as compared to 22%, which gives more viability to the space. They both do the same thing. They are machine learning softwares, and they're designed to take data and make it into usable information. Both of them. All right, but I've got my heels more in Palantir than I have in Snowflake. Palantir will be eligible for inclusion in the S&P 500 after one more profitable quarter. That makes them more valuable as well, if that's the case. All right. Would you recommend kindly to discuss at least once a week the top 10 or 20 VST stocks regard? If you look at the videos that we have on the channel, every week I do talk about my 5 weekly picks or so, 5 or so, depending on what's going on in the market for the U.S., Canada, and Australia. Take a look at that, Mujib. Every Monday, I put up my top weekly picks. Sometimes they are top VST stocks. Other times, there are different ways that I use the power of the VectorVest software to find the stocks. So every week, though, I do give out my top weekly picks for U.S., Canada, and for Australia. So I'm already in that space for you as well. The problem with current conservatives is that they are completely unable to look at things outside the lens of, is this good or bad for the president of the United States? I don't know where I'm going with that. TDW, Tidewater, is an awesome stock.
Tidewater is really good. I will agree with that.
Tidewater is a
great oil pick.
A really, really good stock. The worry-free investing question, I'm not sure if I'm going to find that, if I'm going to be able to answer that for you right now. All right, so I'll see as we go into the next story. So Palantir is on my list today. It's down a little bit today, but another contract by the company makes me feel warm and fuzzy about it. Next stock is a Ryan pick. He's talking about Domino's Pizza. When I read this story, I was thinking about getting pizza for lunch, but I didn't. I should.
Why didn't you get pizza?
I don't know, because it's fattening. I don't want to look fat.
Well, ultimately, so they're revamping their rewards program. Supposedly it's taking ground pretty good. Before, in order to get like reward points, you had to spend at least $10. The problem with that, a lot of products on their menu are less, cost less than $10. I actually lowered that rewards program to just a $5 minimum to gain those rewards. So with this announcement, and as I was looking through Domino's, their dividend X date is actually coming up within the next few days. So I think that'll also help push this stock even higher.
Let's go take a look at it.
Some analysts have came out with some price targets. One of the latest ones was by Peter Salah. He put a $465 price target on Domino's. You see it's up today. Just looking at it here, it is currently overvalued. We're currently trading just lower than $400. We're valuing it around 265 updated day, which is nice. Let's see here, RV. So long-term price appreciation slightly unfavorable at 0.86. However, the safety, I do like it at 1.09. Currently an uptrend right now with the RT at 1.29. And it is one of the few stocks on my list that does have a buy rating. Now, as far as its growth rate and earnings, it is a laggard in this list right now at only 4%. But continue to scroll over, Glenn. Let's look at the dividend here. Specifically, so yeah, if we look at the yield here at 1.2%, so you are getting a good dividend, a safe dividend too. I mean, look at that at 70. The dividend growth, the ability to grow that dividend, ranking at 15. And the YSG, that's kind of like the VST of dividend analysis. That's my way I put it. It is favorable right now, 1.01. So is this, a huge momentum stock? You're going to make a ton of money? No. But this is a good dividend play, I feel like. And the ex-dividend date, you'd have to look it up. But from the article I saw earlier, it's coming within the next few days.
There you go. So from a dividend play, that may not be a bad play. Are these picks for this week? Yes, Vivek. When we do the afternoon market action on Wednesdays, these are stock picks that we have and why we like them. So absolutely. All right. Let's get into the next story. Citigroup CEO Jane Fraser reorganized business, cuts jobs as bank is mired in stock slump. That's Citigroup, folks. Uncle Glenn has been telling you about the other shoe needs to fall on the banks. And it's going to come to fruition. It's going to come to fruition. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't say it before, it's going to come to fruition. I don't know why more and more people are not talking about it. I keep looking at the YouTube. I don't see it. But I am still bearish on the banks. And this is Citigroup. The previous structure of Citigroup resulted in tensions between managers and the lack of accountability that sometimes thwarted new initiatives according to the current blah, 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 blah. These changes will include job cuts, though the company hasn't decided on a number yet, according to the people with knowledge of the matter. Wait till they have to report these losses. So when I go back to the list, I'm still high up on BNKD. All right, we've talked about that a lot. It's the number one stock by way of VST in my list, up 2.87%. It's an ETF. It's got a lot of momentum behind it because I think that more and more people are realizing that banks ain't sitting as pretty as they think that they are. All right, so a lot of you have made some money off of this pick, which is a great thing. I've been talking about this a minute. What other factors should be considered when looking at buying stocks with 1.6 to 1.7 RT? Notice they are more volatile. So when I'm looking at a stock that's got an RT that high, a lot of people like to use the analogy of putting your foot on the gas pedal. If a stock is sitting at an RT of 2, the stock is moving really fast. If it's at 1.6, 1.7, it's still moving fast, but just not as fast. And even if it drops down to 1.3, 1.4, it's still moving higher than 1. The stock is still in an uptrend. So does it make me concerned when an RT is high? The answer to that is no. It's doing exactly what I want it to do, which is go up in price and do so with some velocity. So does that mean that the stock is going to turn around? It could at some point in time, of course. That's going to happen to any stock that goes up because what goes up must come down. but I'm not going to be afraid of high RT stocks, especially if it's moving on news or the market is pushing it higher. That kind of thing that doesn't scare me. RT just tells me how fast the stock is going. All right, does that make sense, WA? I hope so. But RT tells me if the stock is up or down and the velocity of it. The higher above one, the faster in an uptrend it is. All right. So I'm still looking at the bank Citigroup story saying that they're mired in stock slump. I still think, look at this. Google is cutting hundreds of jobs in its recruiting organization. More and more companies, as inflation is becoming more of an issue, more and more companies are going to protect the bottom line by doing job cuts. If you follow me on Twitter, every time we've got job cuts on something, I keep putting it out there for you. All right. Dave C. rocking this. David Paul searches for CI greater than 1.3, RS greater than 1, growth greater than 20, RV greater. There you go. That's a good thing to look for.
That's a good search.
Undervalued good stocks. I like that. Thank you, Dave, for helping him out. That's a great way. I pulled up his old videos and go to the time frame on my charts to see what he's looking at. There you go. All right. Next story is a Ryan story. He's been talking a lot about this. The ARM IPO. Talk about this.
All right. So ARM, they're actually set to IPO come tomorrow. If you're not familiar with ARM, they're actually a British chip designer. They have a lot of partnerships with a lot of powerful players in big tech. I mean, everywhere from Nvidia to Amazon, Apple. Their claim to fame really is smartphone and their ARM processing unit. Their processors are actually in 99% of smartphones. They started that partnership with Apple back in 2007. However, SoftBank, which actually owns ARM, is selling about 10% of the company in this IPO. They're trying to raise about $5 billion. And this article here actually talks about Taiwan Semiconductor investing $100 million in that IPO. They're not the only one. I know I did a short on it last week. There's actually a SEC filing where other companies such as AMD, Apple, Nvidia, I think Intel, Samsung, they're all trying to get a piece of ARM right now. So it's going to be a big IPO. It's actually the largest IPO in several years, definitely this year. The valuation of the company right now with the stock price puts it around $50 billion. The estimated stock price, I think it was like $48 to $51, somewhere in that range. But we're going to see a lot of interest in this position. So if you're not familiar with ARM, and if you want some, exposure to the AI space, this may be a really good play. Because right now, the x86 processors, which is pretty much led by Intel and AMD, their biggest rival is the ARM processor. So, in my opinion, I'm going to let the dust settle, see exactly what happens. And I did actually talk to our data manager. We should have ARM in the database tomorrow. So hopefully that'll be the case. So that way, if you guys are interested in it and see what VectorVest has to say about that position, definitely take a look at it. But me personally, I might do a couple, day trades on it, maybe some short term off momentum. But other than that, I'm going to wait till the dust settles for any kind of long-term entry in this position.
As if talking about doing a live for the IPO, I don't know if that's a good or bad idea. All we would do is just watch the stock take off. Many of you, most of us won't be able to be in as soon as it takes off. That's the sucky part of it. And it'll probably do that for a couple of days and then it'll probably get killed. It'll probably, the people who got in early are looking for all you guys to get in, to drive it up some more, and then they're going to take their money. And that's what happens with every IPO. All right.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with every IPO. So
that's why I said, short-term momentum play, and I mean real short. Have some stops in place. Otherwise, wait till the dust settles.
And I don't know if the live IPO would be worth it because all we'd be looking at is the stock going up. And you guys wouldn't be able to take it because the people who are already in the stock are waiting for the rest of you to get in to drive the stock's price higher before they leave you holding the bag. That's what I think is going on. That's what I think. And I don't have anybody in the background, James. Lisa's probably not here. I'm not sure if I got somebody in the
John Boston,
background to
good
send
point. He
you
said,
one.
I'm not touching ARM. I know people still holding coin from the
Exactly.
IPO.
And I played
The IPOs are
coin when it
dangerous.
first came out. I did it. I got in and I got out the same day. Took me some money off that, and that was straight up strictly day trade to play the momentum for the day. And I'm with you. After that, I haven't been back into it yet. All right, so that's on ARM. We don't have it in the software yet, but we will. I'm glad you reached out, Brian. Ryan, in regards to getting it put in for the customers quickly. That be exciting as Glenn taking a bath with his rubber ducky. What the flying flip is that? What the flying flip is that? Fitz is right. ARM, wait and see. Let's see some revenue history. That's exactly right. I'm with you on that. All right, next story. A couple of weeks ago, I put out a video on pharmas that I like. Moderna was one of them, especially because of COVID. But this is outside of COVID. Moderna says flu vaccine showed promising results in phase 3 trial, paving the path to approval. So, we all I don't get the flu vaccine, the flu shot every year. I don't do that. I don't want to. It's not what I want to do. So I don't get it. But Moderna's getting into that space. Wow, excuse me. Moderna's getting into that space to get a flu vaccine. What I like about Moderna outside of COVID is all of the drugs that they have in the pipeline. And talking about the drugs in the pipeline, look at this follow-up story. Why is Moderna stock trading higher today? And this was today, September 13th. Moderna announced its intentions to launch up to 15 new products and advance up to 50 mRNA medicines into clinical trials over the next 5 years. Up to 4 of those launches could come by 2025. That's a reason why I like a company like Moderna. Merck is another company that's up here that's well. These companies that have put so much money into coming up with new vaccines and things of that nature really catch my attention, because in case the FDA doesn't approve, they got something else in the background. They're working on something else. That's why I like Moderna in regards to this particular space, and especially because because COVID cases are going to increase. They're going to be using the antivirus for that. But I look at a company, a pharmaceutical with this kind of pipeline, makes me warm and fuzzy all over. Let's go look at Moderna. It's the last on my list by VST. But since I did the story on my pharmaceutical stocks, Moderna has been one of the stocks that's been moving. Fundamentally not sound, and that doesn't surprise me as a biomed. A lot of these companies are that way because it's hit or miss. The COVID vaccine made the stock go higher, but there's probably other drugs that they've got that were not FDA approved, and it's going to affect them. CRS, Akshaya, I'll write that down. I don't know. You mean can't remember? Stuff? Yeah, I got that. I got CRS. Because I'm old. I got, and Joey's got that CRS big. How old are you, Joey? 41. He got that CRS big. But I'll take a look at that. We'll put that as one of the stocks. And I was very confused in the nearly every video I watched. The search criteria were different. It all depends, and that's why I didn't want to step on the toes of the worry-free investing to give you information that I think I could answer your question outside of what the course is teaching. John says Moderna hit a low and retested, and it looks like it wants to move up. Let's take a look at it. Way overvalued. Again, that doesn't surprise me as a biomed. Not fundamentally sound. Earnings growth not there. I know it's a tough play. I'm playing it by way of what's going on in the cycle right now, in the season that we're going into. All right. And then add to that the 15 different products that they're going to put out. I like that as well. Let's go draw a freehand line from this low. I got a trend higher. I also have it sitting in a channel. A lot of give back today on big volume. All right, but still gapped up from the previous day. I'd really like to see higher from the low, which is a positive sign. But I'd really like to see the 3 cross above the 8 on good volume. And I'd really like to see RT go above 1. As Sif says, are you still in MJ stock? Yes. Yes, I am. And I was up as high as about 30% on it. And right now, oops, that's not what I was looking for. Right now, no. Oh, did you close out all my other? You closed out of my other stuff? Well, I needed it, like for right now. Sorry. No, I don't want to open it. I don't want to open it from over here. You stopped. Joey and I are gonna fight. Joey and I are gonna fight. You better stop touching all my stuff that I got. All right. MJ causes paranoia. Just saying. Oh, I'm gonna laugh at that. It does. All right. Next story. Potential gap fill. Let's take a look. Potentially, yes. But we'll see. Potentially, yes. But I'd like the movement of both the 3 and the 8, both starting to move up a little bit. I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Again, the story in the season is why I like it. All right, next story is Ryan, AMD to sacrifice flagship RDNA. What the flying flip is that?
All right. So the RDNA 4 GPU is a gaming chip. AMD is definitely known for their gaming graphic processor units. However, they're in demand for AI chips, right? So they're diverting a lot of, valuable resources now to the AI space. I think they're trying to get on this, on Nvidia's tailcoats essentially with this AI space. They don't have much exposure to AI right now. So I think this is, going to be one of their first pivots or real pivots into the AI space. So we'll see how, this develops. But I thought it was an interesting story because it sounds like they're trying to, shift gears away from the gaming side. And the gaming side is, very cyclical. So I think this AI exposure will help, curve some of those tailwinds in that, market cycle essentially.
And they play a huge role in the gaming side. Hugely. Huge.
Correct.
All right. Let's get to look at it in your list. Ryan's picks. Go look at AMD, shall we? Oh, there it is. It's the last one by VST, but notice that on all Ryan stocks today, they all have a VST above 1. Whereas mine are not nearly as VST above 1.
AMD is trading over $100. The value is at $32. One thing I have noticed is that the value has been dropping on AMD quite a bit. The value used to be around $80, just a couple months ago. If we look at the chart.
I'm going to throw value on here.
Yeah. There's a strong support level at $100. So, if you're trying to, allocate positions in AMD, anytime it gets close to $100, tiptoeing into that position, setting a stop, probably shortly below 100 is not a bad way to go if you're trying to get into AMD for the long term. But, you see the value drop there, is that from about 3 to 6 months ago? The valuation dropped quite a bit. Earnings per share dropped. There are definitely concerns about that. That dip back in 2022. But however, this year, the EPS has been rising quite a bit. So I think, from a fundamental standpoint and just, from the AI hype, I think AMD is still a big player. Other than Nvidia, AMD is one of the best chips out there. They've definitely surpassed the likes of Intel and others.
The Intel's got left in the dust by everybody.
Yeah.
And there's Nvidia. There's Nvidia, in my opinion, is the better play, rising value, even though the stock is moving sideways. But if AMD is coming in and riding the AI coattails, that could definitely push the stock's price higher. So now Akshaya says ARM will be the catalyst for semis. You agree with that or not? Do you think it's the catalyst for semis or for AI?
I think ARM will help. I think he's right with that. I think, as long as the ARM IPO holds up, I think that'll definitely help the semis space in general. But I mean, the semi space and AI is not that far apart. It's almost one and the same. The semis is just the hardware for AI. Especially if you're getting in the likes of Nvidia and now AMD.
I wanted to bring them both on because I think that they're both powerhouses in the space. But, Nvidia, and I know this is a stock that you've talked a lot about as well. I like the Nvidia play, but I like both plays. But Nvidia, Nvidia is like, show me the money. AMD is more like, I'm about to hopefully show you the money. You know what I'm saying? Intel will be a winner long term. And when things, I think Intel had a chance. They were the biggest name in tech stocks. They were the biggest name in tech stocks. And Apple and AMD and all of these stocks in this space have bypassed Intel. I'm going to add INTC just to hopefully maybe prove a point in regards to that.
Intel, I mean, go to like a 5-year chart so we can get a bigger picture. But Intel is far behind.
Yeah, look at that.
At least on the nano, was it the nanometer size? And they've actually contracted the likes of Taiwan Semiconductor to produce some more of their more advanced chips that they just can't manufacture.
And so I think that Intel is a big enough name and still draws people. So
Intel's lower than it was 5 years ago.
That's a 5-year graph on Intel. All right. That's a 5-year graph on Nvidia. Big difference, Akshaya. And a 5-year graph on AMD, still better than Intel. And I think that Intel, man, and look at all of the other two have rising earnings. Intel does not. I think Intel was just like, you remember who had the Palm? What was that? Who had all the government people had them?
Come on, BlackBerry?
BlackBerry missed it. BlackBerry got blown out of the water when Apple came out. BlackBerry was the phone. If you didn't have a BlackBerry, you had no status in the world. And now look, BlackBerry's gone. And I think Intel maybe not.
Now BlackBerry's like a meme stock.
Yeah, it is. I don't think Intel gets to that point. I really don't think that Intel gets to that point. But when you look at these other companies that are making the headlines in the space, Intel is getting blown out of the water.
Yep.
So Akshaya, I don't know if I'm on board with that. I don't think.
And a lot of that has to do with TSM, because the likes of Nvidia and AMD, they were smart to subcontract their manufacture to TSM. Because TSM, I mean, they're leaps and bounds ahead of Intel when it comes to manufacturing.
And Jeff put, Apple asked Intel to make the chip for the phone. They said no. They blew it. I just don't think that Intel has got the wherewithal to keep up. They got to do something miraculous.
Well, I never realized that. Intel made a huge mistake not getting involved with
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I like the AMD play, but both of us are on board with Nvidia is probably still even the better play overall. But the news, this news here.
Well, yeah, I wanted to see the news, and I had Nvidia like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I want to do something a little different.
There you go. All right. Intel ain't going away, Marcus. I'm with you. Have you seen the huge Intel dabs? They're like, what the hell is a dab? What's a dab? Like this?
I think he means fab.
Oh, fabs? Where's the D?
Like
yep, it's close to the F. It's close to the F, so he could have made a mistake. He could have fat fingered it. But I was like, dab. He was like, yeah.
Chip fabs.
Okay. And Akshaya, I didn't say that they were going to be a meme like BlackBerry. I just don't think. I think that they're far behind the curve. They're far.
And Intel isn't going anywhere. They produce a lot of chips, but a lot of their chips are, in things like automotive, manufacturing, industry, where, TSM, Nvidia, AMD, they're going into the more advanced, AI, supercomputer computing, quantum computing.
Oh man, don't say that word, because where's Roger? Is Roger here? Roger's gonna be, so Glenn, talk to us about. Shut it up, Roger. All right, shut it up, Roger. Next one. Now this is a stock we don't have, but I am of the mindset. My Janet and I have determined that when we retire, we're thinking about getting a truck and a big fifth wheel. And that's how we're going to live out the rest of the lives until I drive off a cliff while I'm too old to drive. All right. So with that being said, this is a company that's not in the system yet. They're still raising money. Wallabing is the Airbnb of RVs without the high fees and has already raised over $55,000 on WeFunder. I think that this was more of a fun story. When you go to an Airbnb, you rent out a space, but how about being able to rent out an RV? And where is it? During these, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Where is it at?
I think this is I don't know much about the company or the space, but I think it's a great
I
idea.
love the
people
idea.
who have RVs,
here we go.
They don't use them that often, typically.
And that's why
and that way you can.
It says that in the story. The story says, as Airbnb of RVs, it gives owners a way to earn the extra cash on their unused RV during those 330 days or so each year. So I love the idea. If you own an RV, especially if you go and buy a brand new one, this is a good way to finance your RV, is to rent it out. I love this idea. And again, they're only in the beginning stages, and again, this was a fun story. We don't have the stock. They're not, they're still raising money. Something to keep your eyes on when it does come out. When it does come out, as I do more research, I may let you know when it comes out. And this is something I would love. I love the idea. Could be a good money-making opportunity. Daniel, we are showing our age and maturity. I am 22 days younger than Glenn. I'm old. I'm so old. Not really. All right, so this was a fun story, no stock. All right, next story, Oracle. And there's two stories to this. Talk to them, Ryan.
So, Oracle reported earnings recently. As most of you guys saw, I think the stock dropped, closer to like 14% at one point. Very weak guidance, a lot of competition. Me and Glenn were talking about this earlier, between, the likes of, Amazon, Google, even Microsoft. So they are on a lot of pressure right now with a very weak, revenue stream, from that earnings call, and their forecast were not good at all. However, if you go to the next article, Glenn, I think to repair this, they actually just announced a partnership with Microsoft in the cloud space. This is actually the link here. I don't know if Joey can put that in the comment section if people want to watch that, but it comes out tomorrow afternoon. So I think, once, Joey, are you gonna be able to put that? Yep, there it is. It's in the link.
Joey didn't. Joey's sitting in the background sleep. I got this.
So there's a lot of news going around with this position. It dropped on earnings. Today's actually been a pretty big update. Pull up the chart, Glenn.
I had to wake him up.
Me and Glenn were looking at this chart earlier, and it actually has a double gap right where price action is right now.
On Oracle?
Yeah, on Oracle. Yeah, pull up the chart.
Yep. Look at that.
So it gapped down quite a bit, as you can tell. Even the selling pressure continuing yesterday after the earnings. However, with today's announcement, we see a pretty strong candlestick there, a little wick at the top showing some selling pressure. And if you scoot that graph back just a little bit, you can see the gap before from the last earnings call. So it has both an up gap and a down gap to potentially fill.
So we looked at this
right
price.
Now, looks like
this price here of 111.57 actually
where
incorporates
we at right now?
Both gaps.
It's really small on my screen.
Huh?
We're at 112, so we're in the gap. I'd like to see price action stay in this gap. Depending on what is spoken and how deep of a partnership, the two companies have, come out of that meeting tomorrow, I think Oracle could easily fill this gap.
And someone said that Microsoft, Dr. DeLito used to always call it microsausage. But look at that on the same 7-month. That's a beautiful looking equity curve. And look at the earnings on Microsoft.
Look at that earnings too. The EPS.
Look at that. All right. So
go back to the watch list. I just want to see what the indicators had to say about Oracle.
There you go.
Right now, it actually is undervalued right now after this earnings. Right now we're pricing it out. It's trading at around 112. We value it at 115. So slightly undervalued. Updated day. Fundamentally, it's sound. We got RVRS, good ratings there above 1. The technicals, after earnings, definitely that short-term price trend, took quite a beating. However, the VST remains above 1. But even the GRT, that ability to grow its earnings, it's still positive at 12%. So this is kind of a, you could say buy the dip mentality if you were going to enter this position. But we do have, some gaps to fill, and we do got some news related, with a potential huge partnership with Microsoft coming tomorrow. So really just wanted to put this on your radar. The market pulling back right now and inflation, jumping up a little bit today. Any kind of long-term tech position, I'm definitely hesitant. But as far as a short-term play to the upside, I think there's potential here.
Definitely news-driven, and it could have some possibilities. All right, we got to move a little faster, Ryan, because you talk too much. All right, so with that, you talk too much. All right, Apple. Everybody knows I love Apple. Apple's new lineup fails to create stir in China. We all know that China's trying to ban iPhones in the workplace. I still think that's going to affect Apple and adversely. But then Apple's set for major upgrade cycle over the next year following the iPhone 15 launch. Am I going to go get the new iPhone 15 Pro Max? Yes. How much is it going to cost me? About
an arm and a leg?
Yeah, but it's my arm, it's my leg, and I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get it. Joey, what phone are you on? What exactly? Wake up. I know you're sleeping. What phone are you on?
I know you're sleeping.
You on the 12 Pro? Man, catch up. What phone are you on, Ryan?
I have a Google Pixel. I'm Team Droid.
Actually, buddy. I'm going to mute you because you're garbage now. You got the freaking. Now let me stop because Mimi and Jessica both have the new flip phone that opens out. It's not an Apple phone, whatever it is. I don't know if Mimi's here or not, but I love the phone. The phone looks great. So it's a long phone, use it as a phone, but it opens up into about that big. It's the Fold 5. There it is. Mimi is here.
Talking about the little tablet looking phone?
It's not a freaking tablet. It's about like two of these put together. The Z Fold 5. I loved the phone. Yeah.
It opens up to like a little baby tablet.
Yeah, but it's like a big phone. Listen, I love the phone.
Big phone is a tablet.
If I wasn't so ingrained in the Apple ecosystem, I would consider that phone. I would consider that phone. New Apple iPhone is made out of titanium. You can throw it at Joey and no dents. I like that. Jeff, great idea. And then we're going to video it, and it's going to go viral. All right? And then it's going to go viral. You ready for that, Joey? High five, baby. Yeah. All right. It's the best thing ever. It's like a mind. Listen. It ain't the best thing ever because it's still not an Apple phone, Mimi. But it is I love the phone. I love the way it looks and all that kind of stuff. Huh? It's a close third? Okay. Joey says it's a close third. All right, so, the Apple stuff came out yesterday. Am I going to get the phone? Is the new Apple worth the new charging cable? I own the charging cables, the USB-Cs. I already own them. So both my iPads take the USB-C already. It is just bringing it into the fold. All right, it's just bringing it into the fold. So I'm fine. I'm already ready for that. All right, so I always wanted to put Apple on the list. I still think that China's going to hurt it. I got to stop talking so much because I just told Ryan that he talks too much. Apple's number 2 in my list for VST is.
We might not even have time to get to the watch list.
I know. It's all my fault. It's down 1% today. It's a good, safe company. They only grow their earnings at a clip of 5%. Right now, I'm not touching Apple in either direction. I need to let the stock come to me. If we go look at a graph of the stock, I'm not touching Apple in either direction right now. I was in it prior to the announcement, and Apple's just sitting sideways. This is a 3-month graph. This is a 6-month graph. The earnings look great. The company makes money, but I'm not touching Apple just yet. I need the stock to come to me. I need to let the stock come for me. Kings Mountain, North Carolina, mine to reopen with $90 million from Pentagon. Damn.
Oh,
what
really?
Kind of lithium mine, too.
That's right down the street from us.
No, Daniel, I'm about to kick you out my room. Androids rule. No.
Yes, they do.
No, I'm going to
Daniel.
kick you out, and you're the co-host.
I wish I could super like that, chat.
You're co-hosting.
Give him a
I'm going to
like.
put you in timeout. Just if anybody talks bad about Apple, you get kicked hard. All right, Glenn, you're going to make Joey do the Thanos and snap you away again. Wow. No, he snapped his finger, but I'm still here. Okay, that's good. All right. Yeah, I think I am. All right, next story. Next story is a Ryan story. I think all of the next stories are Ryan stories.
All right. So I'm actually doing a video on coal tonight. It comes out.
Oh, wait a minute. Kathleen, is that you?
One up?
If that's you,
what?
Love to see you here. All right, that's it. Go ahead. You know who that is if you look at the name, right, Ryan?
Oh, Kathleen.
That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped to acknowledge her.
But yeah, tonight I'm doing a video on coal. You know, I wasn't expecting it either. But when I did a RT Delta search, it's actually one of the the fastest moving industries right now. It's number 9 on the list. So going through some articles, ultimately, the coal industry, it's not done yet. One of the things I found that was very interesting is actually in the EU, coal consumption grew in 2022.
We had a conversation about that, right?
What was
we
that?
had a conversation about that, right?
Correct. A lot of that having to do, obviously with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, countries trying to get off of, Russia's energy supplies. But another reason why I think, there's still more upside there is right now with France is having some issues obtaining uranium from Niger with the coup going on. And then surprisingly enough, Asia is the biggest demand and the biggest growth right now with coal, with no signs of letting up. Coal consumption in 2022 globally, according to this article, rose 3.3%. And even seaborne coal actually has hit an all-time high. You may be asking yourself, what is seaborne coal? It is simply coal that is shipped via ocean freight from producer to consumer. And the exports from the United States is actually on the rise with that. So even though we may not be, consuming it as much domestically, we're actually shipping out a lot of coal right now to Asia countries. And there's a drought in Panama causing some issues with the canal itself, causing some rerouting issues with some of these coal freights. So there are, some supply constraints right now. So I'm actually, surprising to say, bullish on coal right now. Did some research behind it, and I think it's a good play right now.
And the stock pick he has for that is HNRG?
HNRG, that is, of all the stocks we have right now relating to coal, that is actually ranked number 2. The reason why I chose it is because it is undervalued. As you can see right now, price at $11.50. We value it at just over $19. Up again today, almost 0.17%. RV relative value, great rating there. A little on the risky side with RS at 0.89. However, if you look at the RT right now, that is actually the highest in the list at 1.56. And that's what I was saying. I was surprised to see coal has been on the move, and it has been for the last couple months, essentially. There's been a channel for the past year, and that's actually what I go over in the video, is coal ready to break out of this channel. But it's got a buy rating, and look at that growth rate and earnings, 48%. That's the highest in the list right there. So I think it's a great stock, and I think there's still, some good upside potential there, some profit to be made.
Gonna take a look at the
Um,
graph real quick. We
yeah.
may not look at your stocks today because look at that move and look at the value. This is a good
Value's
play.
rising, RT's rising. EPS had a little drop there, but that's only the 1 month. Go to a year. Let's just see what the big picture is here. It's still rising over the past year, the earnings per share. Price action rising, value rising, RT above 1. It's got a nice strong buy rating for the last, 2 months or so. So it's a good strong position.
I agree.
But yeah, let's jump over to the next story, Glenn. We gotta skedaddle.
Yeah.
So this one, I actually just found this like right before we started the webcast today. So it looks like on the Oregon-Nevada border, potentially the world's largest lithium deposit has been discovered. Now, as of right now, the largest deposit ever discovered was actually this past summer, I believe, in the Bolivian salt flat. That was at 23 metric tons. This discovery is expected to yield up to 40 million metric tons, so almost double that. And I think this will be a game changer, not only for lithium prices, help bring some of those prices down, but the EV space in general. I mean, the whole point of EV cars, not only to, help the environment, but is to not rely on foreign entities, right?
Why don't
So,
you just say
we
it?
have a
China. Just say it. China. Okay.
well, so we're still gonna have to rely on China with a lithium-ion battery, Glenn. And I actually did some research after our conversation because of cobalt. China has they got a monopoly on cobalt. So even if we get the lithium, we still got to get the cobalt from them. But this does help put us in that direction of, getting away and, less dependent on China.
How about this? Marcus says Oregon won't let them mine, only the Nevada side. So hold on. There's the Nevada side. There's a little bit in Oregon. The biggest part of it looks like it's in. Why wouldn't Oregon? See, that's political bullshit stuff. That's what that is. That's political crap. But the majority of the deposit, a lithium deposit is discovered, McDermott, is estimated to hold. Oh, so there it is. And it's look at that. It's partly in Oregon and in Nevada.
Yeah, it's right on the border.
That is poopy to say for Oregon to still say no. I wonder if the EPA will allow lithium production in the USA. Regulation, over-regulation is a bunch of crap, too. I'm finna jump on my high horse in a second. I'm trying not to.
Glenn, real quick, click on that Google link. The next one over, the right. That has to do with this story. The tab up at the top. Just to the right of the one that's highlighted.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just, like I said, I don't know too much about it. I just discovered this right before the webcast. So if you click on the drop down arrow, who is mining the McDermott Coldra right now? And if we read that, it's actually LAC, Lithium of Americas Corp. So right now, they're already in that region, in that space, and that's why I put them on the watch list. So if you want to jump over to the watch list real quick. So, if you're interested in the lithium space with this news, you see they're up 1% today. I liked how they're undervalued, trading at 19. We value it just over 22 up today. Fundamentally mixed. RVs above 1. Nice rating there. A little on the risky side at 0.91. RT relative timing still below 1, but almost to the oscillation point of 1. But look at the GRT. It's the second highest in the list at 33%. So it's showing its ability to grow its earnings. And this news, just coming out. So I think, there's big potential here with this position, especially, if what they think they found is true, I think that'll be a game changer for you.
I agree with that. Amir, the only thing I'm going to say in regards to the CPI numbers We talked about it earlier. There's that level of support where we were sitting at earlier. We're pulling more down. Only thing I'm going to tell you is let the market, take what the market gives you. The market's telling
Well, the
me.
S&P just went negative too.
That's all I can tell you. That's it. That's my idea. I think that comes from both Ryan and I. Play what the market gives you. The 3 is still below the 8. We had a level of support. We're breaking further down. Next level of support sitting at 57.41. The market's got some downside. The MTI and buy to sell ratio, we're not looking for a bottom yet. So there it is in a nutshell.
Yeah, the S&P and the Dow Jones, or the S&P and the VectorVest Composite are down right now. The NASDAQ is up slightly.
Yep.
The Dow Jones is down 100 points.
Yep.
But the watch list I got for you today, they're all winners, so we'll see.
Well, let's go take a look. All right, let's go.
They're all positive today.
Let's go take a look at our picks from last week. All right, and today, folks, we are over our time. We won't be looking at your stocks today. Sorry about that, but Ryan talked entirely too much. So it's actually me. It was all me. All right, here is my stocks from last week. Actually, marijuana made my list from my stocks on my radar. Uranium was on there. Akshaya, there's that stock you said that I was above. I'm telling you, it's super dirt cheap. We'll see what happens. It's got an RT above 1. Charlotte's Web. Oh, then we talked about cannabis companies. We talked about DraftKings. I was bullish on all of this. I was still bullish on Moderna last week as well. Let's do a quick test. Yeah, baby. And what was high on the list? What was high on the list?
MJ.
Marijuana, 10.45% in it. Uranium is up. The cannabis company, Charlotte's Web up. DraftKings, I thought that was going to be up a little bit more. But Moderna, and there's my stock. And look at that, actually. It was only down 1.43%. Overall, we blew the market out the water. All right, let's.
John says, can we stay another hour and talk about politics and pot?
No.
Well, I don't think this is a Joe Rogan, Elon Musk episode.
We could do that.
So
we can start up. We start up a whole new VectorVest political. I don't think Linda would like that, though. I don't think Linda would like that.
We might be
you know something? We might get a lot of viewers. Politics. And then you know something? I would cuss. On that. And Linda would be like, oh, heck no, that's not happening. I would be like, boop, 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 boop. Beep, yes, beep, exactly. Beep, beep, beep. All right. Here's Ryan's picks. I think you were bullish on all of these too. Contras, 2 Contras, 3 Contras.
It was bullish on all of them.
You're bullish on all of these?
Oh, I think BRC, I was actually bearish. Okay. Because of the candlestick that day.
All right.
But that was the that wasn't really my stock. That was the VectorVest blog pick.
Okay. Yeah. So you're right. All right.
Let's just
stocks, pot politics. I need to start a channel. John, if you start a channel, I will be one of your first guests. Man, and we can drink some Jack Daniels, smoke a cigar. Ooh-wee. Do that, John. I will be your first guest. Yeah. Anyway, let's go do a quick test of these. Look at you, Ryan. Socks, the bear side of the semis.
Yeah.
Drive,
I've been bearish semis for a while.
Huh?
I've been bearish semis. I think I've had socks for like the last 2 weeks now.
I agree. TDW only up a little bit. Cold and boil are so mercurial to go back and forth. But it looks like both of our stock picks beat the market. And that's a good thing.
Let's see what the VectorVest blog did. BRC. Let's see if that was a good pick.
Didn't you just see? I just had it up there.
What is it? What it's so
BRC was
it's up 1%. Nice.
It was actually.
I haven't really done much.
Is there anything else you need, sir, before I close out of it?
No. Well, look.
Whatever. No.
Screen, it's so tiny.
No, I closed out of it. All right, let's go see what the customers' picks did last week. We're not doing any picks for you guys this week because Joey was asleep. All right. We gave you 15 picks last week. Sigh. Let's go see what you did. Quick test. 3.
Hey,
they did better than we did. They did CGC, big move. Lithium play. GlaxoSmithKline, Helix. They had more losers than winners, but the winners, man, CGC killed it. CGC killed it. John says, great show, guys. Play? Joey must be cracking up in the background on every show. Joey is asleep in every show.
Hey, you guys hit the like button.
Joey says he doesn't find me.
We got to get that YouTube algorithm going. So that way more people can, get some insight and make some money in the market.
We try to help you.
Too many people not making money these days.
At least we give you some picks every week. We take you through why. Can you put us on the last screen? And take you through why we like the picks. Now, I'm going to ask a question before we go. How many of you have made some money from a combination of our picks? Just type a 1. If you've never taken any of our picks or have lost money on our picks, type a 2. I'm going to put us out there. How many of you have made money on some of our picks, whether it was Ryan's pick, my pick, or our picks together? How many of you have either not played or lost money on our picks? Type of 2. All right. I like doing this. And, I put myself out there. When I ask these questions, but I'm confident in that we bring some of the best content on the YouTube for you. All right.
Hey, curious, Michael, he's the only 2 in the list. What play did you lose money, or have you just not taken any of our picks?
All right. Hopefully
I'm just curious. We only got 1, 2, and a bunch of 1s.
Look at that. They're still coming in. Another mark is 2, but you have good ideas. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Who has been here when Glenn said DEC was a great stock to buy? That stock all these years is still doing great. It ain't me. I keep telling you, it ain't me. It was the power of the system. It ain't me. It wasn't me. And I appreciate that, but it wasn't me. It's the power of the software. All right. So you guys won't have any picks for next week. Well, we'll do picks next week. We'll try to cut down on our stories to give you time for some picks next week. All right. So, who signed off last week? Was it me or was it you?
I signed off last week.
All right. I'm going to sign off this week. First off, if you haven't hit the like button, do so. If you're brand new to the channel and you like the content that you saw here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted to when new content like this comes out. Not only is it afternoon market action, it's Western Wednesday. Howdy, ma'am. All right, with that, folks, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii, especially in Maui. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste, yasu. Have a great day, folks. See ya.
Peace.